Good morning, Kevin. Here we are at podcast number 9, and
Morning, Brendan. How you doing?
I am really good. We have had 2 super fantastic weekends in a row, and I don't really see how we can top them anytime soon. What do you think? Any?
Been just busy and what was that? Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's been awesome, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a great time. Been all over the place. Very busy in a very good way.
Yeah, for sure. So, Kevin, we missed last week from our podcast, and I think that we're honestly going to find that on race weekends we just can't do it. So, what our plan is today in this podcast is to talk about what our race weekend was like. The first Northwest Cup race, which was 2 weeks ago, and then we're going to talk about Loam Lander launch party, which honestly is probably going to end up being a second podcast, but we're going to record them here at the same time. But yeah, let's kind of just go into the timeline of what happened 2 weekends ago at Northwest Cup. Do you want to kind of lead us out? When did you guys get there? What did you guys do that first day?
We got there Friday, midday. Next time we will get there a little bit early because we only got one lap in on our runs. Just at different time frame, different times for different categories, and we got there towards the end. The weather was great all weekend. It was just a great turnout, a great job from Northwest Cup. They put on a great show, and it's kind of when we got there. And then I know like a handful of other Loamers showed up at the same time. Other friends of ours were there. It must have been over 70 every day. I mean, it was sunny and warm.
Yeah, it
a
was
little
awesome.
dusty, but it was truly a really good time.
It was beautiful weather. We unfortunately got there like, I don't know, a half hour too late to get any practice runs in that first day for the Cat 3, which was almost okay. It was fun just hanging out, just sitting down and just not dealing with anything but just enjoying life.
Yeah,
And we kind of lucked out too.
definitely.
You snagged us a pretty sweet spot to hang out. That was pretty nice. We were only, what, I don't know, 20 feet away from the line to get on the shuttles to go up. It's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you to the Ford driver that said, "Hey, I'm about to leave. You should take my spot." I don't know who he was. Thank you. Took a spot. We were able to hold down that spot all weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. It's an interesting place because, there's not a formal parking area. You just kind of go down this power line road, and everyone is just kind of spread out. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool when I first pulled in, I thought it was cool and also, I don't know, a little frustrating. I wasn't necessarily frustrated about it, but you just kept on driving and driving because there's so many people there. And from everyone that I talked to, that Friday practice is usually not very full, but people were just excited to get out and start racing, I think.
Get out and see people's faces again. It's kind of, I mean, that's huge. We haven't really been able to do that. I mean, even last year we hit Silver Mountain, but it wasn't like this. It was just everybody finally hanging out together, seeing each other. It was just needed and a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really, really fun. One thing I'm reminded constantly about, especially over these past 2 weekends, is how non-cliquish mountain bike families seem to be. It's usually and has proven to be that series and scenario where everyone is just excited to see everyone, even if they don't know who they are. It's so inclusive, and that's what's so fun about this mountain biking world.
Throughout the entire weekend, you just saw random people helping each other. Some of them knew each other, some didn't. Some had a flat, they're throwing in a tube in there, or new sealant, or there's, again, we've talked about it before, just everybody working together, everybody helping each other out just so they can do another lap.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super fun. This was my first time going to Port Angeles ever, and honestly, I was kind of impressed with the city. It's a smaller, quaint little town. They have a really fun downtown. We spent what was it, Friday evening playing on the waterfront, and I thought that was pretty fun. I know that that our boys all seem to have a lot of fun just making up their own lines, going off weird stuff, tables, and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was just fun to go out and just play after we had a day or afternoon of sitting around hanging out. A few of our kids were able to do some practice laps for their Cat 2 categories, but I don't know. Isn't it just nice to get out and play, regardless of where you're at, play on bikes?
Definitely. And then as the parents, we kind of just supervised in a sense and just kind of hung out and got to talk. And the kids just all over the docks, like you mentioned, just finding a stage that they played on for a long time and just weird random curbs and the beach and everything was right there. Just a really good way to kind of kick off the weekend, to kind of relax, get the kids to use up some of their energy so they go to bed.
Yep.
And it's just a good time seeing everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. And I'm looking forward to the next one. I think it's coming up in a couple of weeks. We have kind of a conundrum, but I don't think it's not going to be that big a deal. There's the only cross country race of the whole season is that same weekend.
Oh, for cruise.
For Cruz, but it's a time trial. It's not a real race. And so I don't think that he has really any trouble deciding where he wants to be that particular weekend. So um, I would venture to say that downhill racing is going to quickly and highly trump cross country racing.
And redemption for him. You'll talk about that here soon.
I will. Yes. Yeah. He thinks that his races are plagued for whatever reason. But we'll talk about that as we get into kind of our race runs and what happened. So that was our Fridays. I mean, our Friday was pretty awesome. Saturday, I think for both of us was as identical as it can get. We spent a lot of time in the back of a U-Haul truck, getting dusted out to the endless degrees, to get our few laps in during Saturday's practice. I was pretty impressed with how that worked out as far as getting all those bikes in that truck. It was pretty efficient. I felt like, for what it is, they were able to get people in and out and up on the hill and down in a pretty quick fashion. This was my first time enjoying the U-Haul experience. What did you think about that, Kevin?
Uh, it was good. I mean, I don't know, they had 3 or 4 of them. So even when you're far back in line, they're packing in 20 plus people in every single U-Haul. And the masks that we had to wear because of COVID, they worked perfect to also block out that dust.
Right.
It was different. It was fun to get up there. As much as I love Hubbapalooza, it was nice not pushing our bike to the top of the hill.
Absolutely.
So Northwest Cup, good job getting U-Hauls, and it was just a good time to get in there.
Yeah.
And not pushing up the hill.
Right. Although at Hubbapalooza, I don't think that we could actually physically stand up in that U-Haul if it was going up that hill. The steepness was just a little
We'd be
bit
falling out
different.
the back.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. But I can't say I'm the highest fan of the mask fun, but I was greatly appreciating my mask as we were, going 30, 40 miles an hour up these logging roads to get to the top of the hill. It was dusty, but it was fun. It was.
And thank you for all those drivers.
Yes, absolutely. They have,
Volunteers.
right. I think each one of them will fully admit they have a little bit of crazy in their driving. Like that's just their nature. They're really cool guys and gals. I think there are a few women that are driving as well. It's super good.
Nice.
Yeah. So race day was super fun. Race day brought its own excitements. Tatum, my wife, she's awesome. She's also one of those people that doesn't like to be late to stuff, and we had a little excitement as we were getting ready for us to all get up on the top of the hill. Having that many kids around us, sometimes one takes a little bit longer than another, and everyone made it to the top on time, but there were a couple close calls.
Well, Tatum also took care of 2 that came or that hangs out with us often, Angus and Austin.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have made it to the top of the hill if it wasn't for Tatum.
Nice. Well,
we were all bugging them. You got to go, you got to go, got to go, got to go. And they still, I love the 2 kids, took their time. And and they eventually got up there, but still Tatum had to run down to where they drop him off the U-Haul. Get up there now. So that was awesome that Tatum did that for us too.
That was pretty funny. And they made it. And they had both fun race runs too. Which one was riding the bike that he literally had one practice run on? Was that
That
Austin?
was awesome. Yeah,
Austin.
he got a new used bike, and he had one practice run on it, and then one lap,
That's
and
awesome.
his race lap. Did really good. It wasn't dialed in 100% for him, but we did the best we could in the very short window we had to get it ready.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And he had a good time. It's just the smiles coming off of kids' faces as they reached the bottom of the track was amazing.
And then Angus, the other guy, the other boy, his first downhill race ever,
Mhm.
and he was smoking down that Cat 3 course.
That's
He
so
did so
awesome.
well. And then Austin did great on the new bike that he's never ridden. That was awesome to see him just bomb the trail.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see Keller in his element with his buddies. Obviously we hang out with Keller a lot. Our family does, and he's usually the big teenager in our group of little teenagers and littlers. But yeah, it was fun to see Keller in his element with his buddies.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. So, Kevin, you and I had a fun race ourselves. We did once again race the old man division, but not the old man division. We're just in the old man division,
They
and
separated it. We were supposed to be the oldest division for the men, and
right,
they separated it, which increased our chances.
it did.
There's
And
fast old man.
I know that's what I was going to say. We were greatly benefited from that swap of rider pool, because those guys are pretty quick for old men. Maybe by then we'll be both good enough that we'll be the quick old men ourselves.
Maybe.
Who knows? I doubt it, but we're getting better every race.
I hit my scared levers too much.
I am too. I do as well. So as I was coming down the last couple of berms, those in the crowd were like, "Stop pulling your brakes! Stop pulling your brakes!" And my mind didn't like that. My body didn't want to respond. And I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to stop pulling those brakes as much. But it's so fun. How
Those
did your?
hecklers did a great job.
They
All
did.
those hecklers on the hill, all the way down. Great job hiking up the hill. It was not an
Yeah.
easy hike. They're loud, they're fun, they're annoying. It was perfect.
Right. I learned something at this race that maybe this is common knowledge I didn't know, but they had people staged at different points of the race that were blowing a whistle, and I didn't know that was an indication to the next people in line that there's a rider coming, or the next point of whatever. So it was really cool because you could listen for the whistles, and if you're listening closely, you could hear sometimes double whistles, and you could know that there was two racers coming through together really fast, and that it was, that back one was really gaining a lot of speed on that, the one that was before them. Did you know that? I mean, is that common knowledge, or was this just I don't know, it's brand new to me?
I think that one's been around for a while, because I think I remember that back racing cross country a long time ago
Huh.
on the way
Well,
down.
Well, yeah, it definitely made my racing experience better, just to as a spectator to understand that. So now I know, and maybe those that are listening to this podcast that didn't know it will know it now. Kevin, how was your race run? Tell me how that went. I mean, I know how it went. I know the results of your race run, but you were the first one out of the gate in our group, and so you held the
Yeah,
podium.
I did. I was in first place for a very, very short time, because the guy came in second, already beat me out. Um, yeah. So I was the first one in the old man group, not the oldest, the old man group. Dropping in, it was fun. There's two long flat sections, and you had to pedal, and they weren't bad. They're just, you had to pedal. And that second one, I get in shape. My legs did not want to pedal. I didn't have much energy left by then. But it was good. I dropped in right out of the gate. I felt good. Like I had a really good sprint out of the gate. The doubles that were at the top, like I really want to go back there and actually session those doubles.
Me too.
Um, if you clear them, you're going to gain so many seconds. And so I didn't focus on clearing them. Um, I kind of feel like that's where I could make up time. I felt good through the corners. Um, the first straight, I felt really fast. Um, so it was just tons of fun. And I think the guy who got first place on that beat my time by like 7 or 9 seconds. So honestly, there's nowhere in that trail that I could have made up that time.
Right.
I was like, look at, like you look back and you're like, oh, I could have made up a second. I would have gained a spot, or there's nowhere for me to gain 9 seconds in that course. Um, it was really, really fast. It was fun. It was a good smooth run in the practice lap. And actually, my picture today is Keller in a practice lap. Um, in the practice laps, I actually went over the bars, my very last practice. And it was one of those ones that did not hurt. I don't know what happened. I was like, what? I'm on the ground. What just happened? And so knowing where that happened, I went through the really fast and smooth. And it was weird, not strange, sorry. It was just a fun, techie, loamy section. And somehow went over the bars in practice. But in the race run, I just bombed right through it. Um, not much energy left when it came to those fun, big corners at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. At the end of the day, out of how many riders were there of us? 7 or 9? 7?
9. There were 9 of us.
9?
Yep.
And I was able to hold a third place. So I made
Yeah.
podium again. It was a lot of fun.
It was awesome. This is killer. I had very, very many of the same experiences on my race run. And it was fun. It was so fun to watch you go. It was fun to be at the towards the end of the line, just kind of experience some of the other riders in front of us. But yeah, my race run was honestly, I think Beckham and I had a pretty quick practice run, he and I, but it was the first once again, kind of full speed run that I'd had. And I'm not complaining at all. I've had a lot of fun watching my boys go through their training process and to get some laps in. And but for me personally, I don't get the chance to really just bomb down it. Which honestly on the Saturday, my legs were cramping up. I didn't drink enough water, and I don't think that I honestly could have done too many fast laps myself, just by myself. So my race run once again tended to be that initiation into the speed. Uh, I was doing cornering really well on Saturday, and Sunday my cornering just kind of went to crap, which was disappointing because I felt really, really fast in the upper section on the first day or on Saturday during the race or during the practice, and I didn't feel as fast in Sunday in the race, but that's all right. I too was getting super tired through most of those sections, especially as I got closer to the end. My legs just didn't want to stand anymore. I wanted to sit down. I wanted to be that old man guy that's just kind of coasting down to the bottom, and I was fighting myself and my body to get down there as impressive as I could possibly make myself look. I came in sixth, I think, so I was about 5 seconds off Kevin, and a lot of seconds off of the top guy. But it was fun. I mean, it's just nice to go, and I mean, I had that 16-year-old feel in me that I just felt like I was just in my fun zone. Um, it was a good time. It was really just a good time.
You know what's kind of neat is Bobby was taking some, actually, he did tons, not just some, tons of photos of us bombing this last corner, like the one that Keller's in.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a photo of me, and I felt like I was flying through that corner. And he showed a photo of me in the worst form possible. And then he shows me Keller, who's right here, who's actually attacking that corner almost perfect. I was like, I have the worst form on the mountain. It was horrible looking. It was just kind of funny to look at it that way too. Just when you're looking at pictures and just, I don't know,
It,
it just adds a little humor to my own writing.
it does, but I mean, isn't it nice though to also start to recognize like the differences between some little things that can make a huge difference in our writing?
Yeah. So
I've been
speaking
yes.
of form, I see Cruz leaning really heavy on the bars. Why is he doing that
Oh,
in that
Cruz.
picture?
Yes, poor Cruz. So this is Cruz's race run. He let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Friday afternoon, Cruz comes back from his practice lap. So Cat 2, they were able to practice later in the afternoon on Friday. And so we got there in time for him to get some practice laps in. And he comes back to our little gathering spot, and I think I don't know. Someone said Cruz cracked a rim, and Tatum heard Cruz cracked a rib, and so she had a moment of panic. And then once the clarity was brought to Cruz cracking a rim, then we started to diagnose that a little bit. He threw a tube in, and it held throughout his practice on Saturday. And then, unbeknownst to me, he decided to take quite a bit of air out of his tire on Sunday because he felt like he wasn't getting enough traction. So about I don't know, a quarter of the way through his race run, he got a pinch flat, and that's what it ended up being. And since the rim was already totaled, he finished his whole race with a flat. And he actually did pretty well. I don't even remember looking at his times, but he did pretty well for what it was.
He did 2/3 of the race, right?
Yeah,
On a complete
on a
flat.
complete flat. And the kid behind
On
him,
rim.
right, was just barely catching him, and they're in the last, I don't know, last third of the track by the time that that other kid was catching him. So, um, he feels like his racing career so far has been plagued with issues. He wrecked on his first race at Silver. He wrecked on both races in Hubbapalooza, and now he has had a flat in this race. But honestly, once he has a clean run, he's going to bounce pretty high up that leaderboard. He's a quick kid, and from the dad standpoint, I think this is really good for him. I think that you have to go into these situations humble, and sometimes humility is brought in ways that teach us lessons. The other thing is I gave him the opportunity to take Beckham's whole wheel and tire, which is the right size. It's an amazing tire, amazing wheel, amazing hub, and he chose to retain his OEM, his original equipment, and that's fine. But next time, I think he might swap out a tire and a rim if he has this situation happen again.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
What
my
about Tatum, right? I mean, because Tatum was there. Did
Yeah,
she race?
she didn't race. She was the coach, and she did an awesome job. So Oliver had another one of the Oliver race experiences where he came in last place. Don't tell him that. He just knows he came in 16th place or whatever it was. He had a great run. But he also in his practice runs had a few sections that he was pretty nervous about. But on Sunday, he and I worked on those sections, and he got them dialed in, and he had a pretty clean run. He had a couple of slide outs that took some time out of his racing, but he and Tatum did their best run of the whole weekend, coming down that hill, and they had fun, and they were able to enjoy some time together, and to get Oliver all hyped up. And he was so overtired, and he had put everything that he had into it, that at the end of his race, he was just emotionally exhausted. It took him a while to get back into to the excited moments of being there racing. And once he did, he was good. But um, he left everything that he had out on that race course. He came back pretty emotionally exhausted.
Definitely. And then Beckham, he did really well too.
Beckham did great. He was
New bike,
riding.
Beckham.
Yeah, that's right. He was on his new bike for the first time, and he loved it. He loved feeling the quickness of his tires rolling over stuff, and how he wasn't getting beat to death on his old 24s. Um, he also learned a lot of things. He learned how to, keep his body position a little bit better, and he had a good run for. I'm not saying it just for Beckham, but he had a great run, and he came back stoked, and he met friends, and he had a really fun weekend. And I think that's what I'm learning more and more in these races. Is it's in our family, for our younger two, it's less about winning the race or podiuming. It's more about having fun and doing hard things and being totally okay with whatever the outcome is.
It was fun to see Beckham's confidence throughout the weekend on those bigger wheels because he went up to the 27.5s and
Yeah.
he's like, I can roll over stuff. I'm going to try this. And that one last practice run you had where you kind of went full speed, I stepped back and rode with Beckham. It was just kind of fun to watch him do stuff that I'd never seen him do just because he had the bigger wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just nice. I mean, and he loved it. He had so much fun.
And Keller's run, he was fast and he did really good. And I think he ended in the top third, maybe middle of the pack right there. Um, he beat some people that he didn't beat in Hubapalooza. Um, he was smooth. He was fast. He was in a great mood. I felt like Hubapalooza, he ended it with a little bit of stress still, like it was
Mm-hmm.
still bound up into him. This one, he's like, sweet, I'm done. Okay, now I'm gonna go ride bike somewhere else. And so he just had a whole different attitude this race. And I think he just kind of relaxed a little bit more. And I think he did really well because of the being able to relax and get the nerves out.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. It was very obvious in Keller that he was enjoying his weekend, that he really had a lot of fun. And Jake, another Loamer, he had a good run as well. It didn't turn out exactly how he wanted, but it still was, he was fast. He's a fast kid on that 24. You get him stepped up to the next tire, and there is no way any of these kids are going to keep up with him.
Shout out for him. We're still looking for an extra small with 27.5s, 150 mil travel or more. There's
Yes.
nothing out there.
No. And this is a kid. If you're a bike brand, you need to get to know Jake. Um, he is a shredder, and he's real talented. It's a good kid.
I guarantee he has sold 40 plus spawns just because he rode spawn and he lets every kid ride it.
Yeah,
So whatever bike brand it is, like Brendan just said, you need to pick him up.
you do. He's a good kid. So yeah, Kevin, that was our race weekend. The other thing that was pretty exciting to see is obviously we all had our Loam Lander jerseys on, and we were loud and proud, and we had a lot of amazing moments. We had several of us win raffle prizes, which was kind of fun to see Loam Lander come up over and over and over. And of course, with your fantastic third place win, we were on the podium again. So Team Loam Lander is doing amazingly great, especially for our second race. And yes, it's
And
just awesome.
well, we also forgot one thing is part of us was actually pro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so
part of us was
Linnea,
pro. Part of us was pro. Yes. So
yes,
tell
Linnea,
that
the
story
fluid
really
ride.
quick.
Yeah, Linnea, the fluid ride. I get done with my run and she's like, my fork is blown. And she rides the Evil Reckoning and I do too. So I knew that, you know, the fork won't be too much longer than hers. And I was like, just take my fork. And she's like, seriously? I was like, yeah. It took us like 10 minutes to yank my fork off, put it on her bike. I think it was RockShox was there and they set up the fork for her, which is perfect. And my fork is now officially pro and it gained her 5 seconds from her seating run.
That's insane. Congratulations, Kevin. You are now partially pro. That's
And
amazing.
congratulations, Lene, for making my fork pro.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we should probably say. And Linnea is so cool. She was here this weekend at our launch party, and we hope she had a wonderful time. I know she may have jammed a finger, and hopefully that's doing better. But it was cool to get to know her better, and yeah, she's pretty fun.
It's a good time for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, I think that is going to be what we should set for our podcast of this week, and I can't think of a whole lot more to say. It's it was a great time, and I think that we definitely really enjoyed our race weekend. Do you have anything else you want to add before we kick this particular session off?
Yeah, just a shout out again to Northwest Cup, to everybody that worked it, to the volunteers, to the hecklers, to the racers, spectators, everybody that was there. It was just a great time. We appreciate everything. Looking forward to the next one in 2 weeks, again in Port Angeles. And that's it. Looking forward to see you guys again real soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good times, and I am as well. I'm looking forward to the next one. And with that, we at Loam Lander, we're excited to race. We're excited to share with you all the fun things that are happening here, and to give you some more insight into what what happens in the Loam Lander world. But with that, we say adieu and goodbye, and look forward to our next podcast. All right. So I'm gonna
Okay,
hit,
so
I'm gonna
now
hit